published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that showed if we took the population and divided them up by their vegetable consumption, those in the top 20% of the population eating the most vegetables had a 16% reduction in what is known as all-cause mortality. What this means is that for that period of time studied, they were 16% less likely to die from all non-accidental deaths compared to others in their age group, regardless of many other health factors like exercise. Hey, that's pretty good, right? Today is a big day. We're going to be talking about some pretty important stuff. I'm very excited. We're going to be talking about cruciferous vegetables as a group. In other words, we're going to be talking about broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, collard greens, bok choy, pak choy, watercress, landcress, radish, daikon, wasabi. Yes, wasabi. It's a cruciferous vegetable. Who knew? We're also going to be talking about broccoli sprouts. So much about broccoli sprouts. And more importantly, sulforaphane. We're going to talk about how sulforaphane is the most potent, naturally occurring dietary activator of the genetic pathway NRF2, which regulates over 200 different genes. Many genes which are antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and genes that are involved in inactivating potentially harmful compounds that we may be exposed to on a daily basis. We're going to be talking about the cancer preventative effects of sulforaphane, its effects on cardiovascular disease, and on the brain. We're going to be talking about its effects on excreting carcinogens, bioavailability and dose, and we're going to talk about how I'm able to sustain my 40 to 60 milligram of sulforaphane a day by sprouting, and so much more. Of just looking at vegetable consumption, we look at the top 20% of cruciferous vegetable consumers, the effect on all-cause mortality is even more substantial. The top 20% of consumers of cruciferous vegetables reduce their all-cause mortality by 22%. Well, that alone is actually almost enough to make me start a broccoli farm. There's been a lot of research on the profound associations between cruciferous vegetable consumption and risk of cancer. For example, one study found that men that ate between 3 to 5 servings of cruciferous vegetables a week had a 40% decrease in prostate cancer risk compared to men that ate less than 1 serving per week. Men who ate 2 or more half-cup servings of broccoli per week had a 44% lower incidence of bladder cancer compared to men who ate less than 1 serving each week. Smokers who consumed at least 4.5 servings of raw cruciferous vegetables a month had a 55% reduction in lung cancer risk compared with those who consumed less than 2.5 servings per month. But what if you already had cancer? People with bladder cancer that had just 4 servings of raw broccoli per month had a 57% reduction in bladder cancer mortality and a 43% reduction in all-cause mortality compared to those that just had 1 serving per month. Something is obviously going on here. These are some pretty powerful associations. The single best source of glucoraphanin and thus sulforaphane are likely broccoli sprouts, which contain up to 100 times more glucoraphanin than their mature counterpart, broccoli. Moreover, sprouting is something that is extremely inexpensive and can be done at home. There are several different mechanisms by which isothiocyanates, particularly sulforaphane, reduce cancer risk and kill cancer cells. And these occur through multiple different pathways, including deactivation of a family of enzymes known as phase 1 biotransformation enzymes, which are responsible for converting procarcinogens into active carcinogens. This is one way in which sulforaphane can prevent the formation of DNA adducts, which is a type of DNA damage that has been shown to lead to cancer, which occurs after exposure to particular types of carcinogens. Tobacco smoke is loaded with carcinogens that form DNA adducts, which is why it's really nasty stuff that increases the risk of several different types of cancer, including lung and bladder cancer. It also may explain why just a few extra servings of cruciferous vegetables a month may lower the risk of lung cancer by 55%, like we just discussed. But when it comes to showing off the ability of sulforaphane to help trigger systems that boost the excretion of carcinogens, there's really one study that stands out. This study demonstrated that sulforaphane and its precursor, glucoraphanin, can actually significantly increase the excretion of benzene. Participants that were given a daily broccoli sprout beverage containing around effective dose of something like 135 grams of fresh broccoli sprouts per day increased the rate of excretion of benzene by 61% beginning on the first day of consuming the drink. Just so you know, benzene is a carcinogen that's been shown to cause cancer in humans and in animals, particularly leukemia. The major source of benzene is from automobile exhaust and air pollution, but also from cigarette smoke, even secondhand. The bottom line is that consumption of cruciferous vegetables, including watercress, but perhaps especially broccoli sprouts, since they are so rich in sulforaphane, is a powerful way to deactivate and excrete harmful compounds that we are exposed to on a. What's interesting, however, is the effect cruciferous vegetables have on cardiovascular risk factors. Multiple studies have found that people that eat a higher quantity of cruciferous vegetables have a lower risk of cardiovascular disease, heart attack, and stroke compared to those with a lower intake. Another study showed that a broccoli sprout powder containing approximately 40 milligrams of sulforaphane, an amount you might get from around 100 grams of fresh broccoli sprouts, reduced TNF-alpha, a marker of inflammation, by 11%, and lowered C-reactive protein, another marker of inflammation, by 16% in people with type 2 diabetes.